Hello everyone, it is Satellite, and today I'm going to be showing you another Garen video, but this time I have decided I was gonna go something kind of unusual for me, and what I'm talking about is AD Garen. Now, as you know, and you probably know that either because you read it on my guide or you heard me say it in another commentary, Garen built AD is kind of a waste because he has amazing tank potential and still a decent damage. While if you build him full damage, he lacks tankiness, and in my opinion, is not as useful for the team as he is built tanky. But you know, sometimes it might be either worth or simply fun to build him AD. So in this video, I decided to just go AD, and since I've gotten a matchup that was pretty good, I am going to play against the Singed, who luckily does not deal that much damage. So I'm not, I don't have to be afraid of his damage to and that would make me unable to build damage on myself. So I decided to just go ahead and try this out. It wouldn't be the first time I build an AD Garen, but it surely isn't something I do that often. So what you're gonna see here is me winning the laning phase, and I would carry the game, but the rest of my team was actually playing a very good game overall. So I don't think the definition of carrying applies in this situation, but you're gonna see some decent stuff anyway, because if it weren't like this, I would have probably not showed the video at all. The video is only long 22 minutes or something like that, just because they surrendered, because they were getting snowballed in every possible way, and I was going around killing lots of people and still not being as squishy as a Raven would be. So yeah. You're gonna see this video is not particularly long. I don't even know personally if I'm going to commentate over it entirely, because unfortunately there isn't much to say about the game itself, or the build. It's fairly simple. This build is similar to the one standard, except you build the Black Cleaver first, and then after you've gotten the Black Cleaver, you proceed into Ayomu's Gustblade, which is, the second damage item you're gonna need on Garen, just because you want to get the extra armor penetration, and the active ability is it's kind of more helpful because of the movement speed buff, and you will need that because Garen built AD will not exactly be as tanky as normal. So that basically means that if you don't move quick and you don't get close to your opponent as fast as you can, you will just end up dying. Now what you're gonna see here, and I spoiled this for you because it's very embarrassing to be fair, is he's going to get first blood. I'm not going to get first blood, he's going to get it. Oh well, not first blood, but the first kill in lane. Well, I just said a bullshit. Now as you can see, he did something very smart, and he used this tower to kill me, and I must admit, this guy wasn't exactly the best Singed player ever, but he wasn't dumb. He wasn't dumb like many Singed players tend to be, and I'll give him credit for that. I hope he's gonna watch this video, because I did link my guide to him, but I don't know if he checked it out. So yeah, so he gets the first kill, but I'm not afraid anyway, because even a Singed, even full AP, lacks the damage to be scary to Garen. Like if I were a squishy, someone squishy like Fiora, or I don't know, Riven or Teemo, even Teemo, I would be slightly afraid of him, because he can just, if he pulls a squishy enemy back, that squishy enemy loses basically half of his health and becomes an insta-kill for any other player in the enemy team, or maybe even him. So it's not exactly good to fight against a Singed when you're a squishy. So as you can see, he's also fairly smart, but doesn't really calculate the trajectory of the fling. So when he flings me back, and yeah. So let's speak about the build now. The build is, as I said, I already started speaking about it before, but I'm going to just finish now. The build is fairly simple. It's pretty much the same thing as the normal build, except as I said, you want to get the Black Cleaver fast instead of posticipating it after you've gotten an armor or a magic resistance item. So you're going to focus entirely on damage, and you're going to see that since Garen's ratios are amazing, because his E scales from 120% of his attack damage, and his Q, I think it scales 140% of his attack damage. The more AD you get, the more damage you have. The problem is, as I said before, is getting close to your enemies so that you can kill them. So yeah, as you can see, I'm going to finish this guy off here thanks to my ignite. Or maybe not. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh no, I didn't kill him at this time. So yeah, as you can see, it's fairly annoying, I guess, Singed, because he does sustain the damage fairly well, but you're gonna see that once I get the Brutalizer, the music will change. So yeah, you get the Black Cleaver first. Then the second item that you want is, as I said, Yomu's Gustblade for more armor penetration, and a nice speed buff that will help you get closer to your opponents, and also the critical strike chance. This is not crit Garen, because a crit Garen build exists, but it's not the one you're gonna see in this video. The crit Garen build is also fairly nice. I tried it a couple of times. I'm probably gonna make a video of it once I have the time and the possibility to play crit, because I think AD Garen is not the kind of build that you can try against every opponent. Many opponents will destroy you if you don't build tankiness, and you know, in case that happens, it's better for you if you keep your normal build up. So after you got Yomu's Gustblade, you can either proceed into a nice Infinity Edge, because at this point you've already gotten a very good amount of armor penetration, so more flat AD will help you a lot, and crit chance also is nice. But I would recommend, of course, you need to get boots before you get Yomu's Gustblade. Sorry for that's a pretty big gaff. Don't forget about boots, because they matter a lot. And once you've gotten your boots, you can proceed with Yomu's Gustblade. The problem is, what boots should you pick? Now, I think the best idea for you is to pick Swiftness boots. Why? Now, it's fairly simple. As I said before, mobility is key. If you don't have enough mobility, you will not get to your opponents alive. Like, Garen doesn't have a gap close, and if your flash is off and you can't use it, how are you gonna get close to your enemies to kill them? You need the speed buff, because without it, you just will not be able to get to your opponents. When you build a tanky, that does not pose a problem, because, you know, well, I'm so tanky, even if I take long to take to my opponent, I'm still going to make it, because he's not going to be able to kill me before I get to him, and once I get to him, he's basically already a corpse. If you're building AD and you lack tankiness, you're not gonna get that much time to get close to your opponents, and you may end up getting killed before you even land your silence. So that's a huge problem, unfortunately. But well, you know, so that's why I'm telling you it's best to use this build against opponents who don't have too much mobility. Like if you're against a Lee Sin, or well, a Lee Sin, it might even work, but I'm not 100% sure it would. But if you're against the Lee Sin, or I don't know, Riven, who has lots of mobility, then I probably wouldn't recommend that you even bother building AD, because they not only will they deal more damage than you anyway, they will probably end up killing you before you can even touch them. So trades might just end up being bad. So that's pretty, you know, it's pretty straightforward. It's nothing really complicated to explain and probably to understand. So yeah, let's go on with the build. After you've built the Infinity Edge, so the situation is you have Boots of Swiftness, possibly enchanted with Alacrity. You have Yomu's Gustblade, the Black Cleaver, and the Infinity Edge. You can proceed into building armor and magic resistance now. I wouldn't recommend you get more attack damage, because it's not going to change a lot unless you decide to build a Last Whisper. In that case, you might want to build that, but only build it if the enemies are far behind, because if they aren't and their damage is starting to increase, they might just end up killing you, and that would be bad. That would be terrible. Terrible. So yeah, that's basic stuff here. You're not gonna see me build lots of stuff in this game, because as I said, it's going to finish quickly. But you know, I think it's self-explanatory. Like it's basically like building Garen the same way you would probably build Darius or any AD top laner that you use. Even though I must say I don't really like AD Garen anyway, it just doesn't feel worth it to me. But well, what can I tell you? It's just personal preference. I guess maybe one of you is going to comment this video and tell me AD Garen works a lot better than tanky Garen for me. I never lose, I never feed, or whatever it is, I always get fed. It can happen. I'm not like God or Jesus. I'm no one here in this world, so it's possible that my ideas are wrong. But you know, that's just what I think. ID Garen to me isn't as much important and useful as Tanky Garen. Now let's go on with gameplay. Now, well, gameplay is fairly similar to what you would normally do with the Tanky Garen. Force trades, because your trading potential beats that of most top laners. Max your E because its damage is very high, and it's the best damage source for you. Make sure you use Decisive Strike first as your main engage, because you can silence your opponents. It's fairly simple. It's the same as you would normally do with Garen without building damage. This time, though, there's a few twists about the mid game and the late game. Now, I don't know how many of these kinds of plays you're gonna see in this video, but you need to keep in mind that you are not tanky. So if your opponents engage you and you're 1v3, 1v2, I don't know, it can be pretty much anything you want, fighting might not be the smartest idea, for the simple reason that, you know, you're not tanky, so they can kill you. You won't take as much damage as you would, and in case your burst doesn't finish them off, you're screwed because you can't escape. You used your Q to engage. So, you know, when you're engaged by multiple opponents, you can't be as ruthless as you would normally be with Garen. As well as engaging is also harder, because if you engage someone with high mobility, such as a mid laner, or I don't know, the enemy jungler could have high mobility, but if you have an enemy with high mobility and you engage and you don't get to him, you're a corpse. Once your Decisive Strike speed bonus finishes, you're a corpse, because you can't escape anymore, because if you probably don't have flash, and that means you will not be able to kind of engage quickly, and if you don't have flash, you're just gonna die. That's it, because you won't be able to sustain the high damage that mid laners will probably be able to deal to you. So just keep in mind it's so, you know, in general the gameplay with AD Garen is not that different. The difference lies in the mentality. That's what really changes. The mentality you have needs to change. You need to think more of an assassin like mentality, except you will not be as assassin as you would with a real assassin, because you're too slow and you don't have gap close. So yeah, you can kind of understand that. That's pretty much all I could say about this specific build. After all, the gameplay stays very similar to what you saw before, and also that Yasuo was, man, brilliant. But well, let's get back to the topic. So, you know, there's not much more, because gameplay is similar to normal Garen. Build is, well, not similar, but you know, there's just two different items. It's not that complicated, because after you've gotten Infinity Edge and maybe Last Whisper, you can proceed building a Guardian Angel or something like that. And don't underestimate Guardian Angel on Garen, because you know you get 20% more armor and magic resistance even when you're not building entirely tanky. So, you know, you could probably consider, that you might want to, you know, the Guardian Angel magic resistance and armor will be buffed, so you might just consider taking that only as your tanky item, because it's going to be enough. I assure you it's going to be enough. I tried it a couple of times, and the 50-50 armor and magic resistance becomes quite a lot when you get your passive up. So yeah. Now, I really wouldn't like to cut the video here, but I'm going to have to do that, because there's not much more I can say. Like, that's basically it. You need to change your mentality, focus on enemy carries as usual. Well, I'm going to just give you a couple of tips for the late game again, and then I'm going to finish the video, finish the commentary. I'll just leave you with the gameplay and increase the game's volume. So when you play in the late game and in the mid game and in team fights, your objectives are obviously, as usual, the AD carry or the AP carry. The problem is that, as before, I have stated this a couple of times already, and I'm just joking. I know it's not a couple. I know it's much more than that. But it's important that you focus them, but it's important that you do not engage when you can't get to them. Like, you need to develop the feel for when you can get to your opponents and when you can't, because the chances are you might just overestimate your possibilities as Garen, because it's just you are not tanky. So if you miss a second, if you just miss a second, or you lose timing or something like that, you're just going to die. That's it. Even the smallest second is going to punish you, unlike with many other AD top laners. So that's the problem with Garen AD, that you can't make mistakes or you will die. So yeah, that's pretty much all I've got to say. So what you're gonna see here is, I think I'm going to barely survive this, because Singed saved me. He just pushed me where I needed to be. And this it's real ganked me, but he didn't have his ultimate. It's evident he didn't have his ultimate, because if he had it, he would have killed me by now. But thankfully, Yasuo also ganked me and got it. I think he's gonna get a double kill. I'm not 100% sure. Then I see Kha'Zix, and I think I can engage him, but my bad. As you can see here, you're gonna use what you saw here is a huge mistake. I didn't use silence first. I started spinning. That's stupid. You need to silence your opponents first in these types of situations, because if you silence them, they will not be able to use their abilities, and that includes the smite. So you can just go ahead and destroy them, because they will be relying on their basic attacks, and they won't deal that much damage to you, because Garen ends up being tanky even when you don't build him tanky. So yeah. Especially if you build the Black Cleaver, because the Black Cleaver also gives you health. So it's not that much, but it's 200 health. It's a little bit of tankiness just for show. So yeah, you can kind of that's pretty much all I've got to say. So yeah, I'm sorry about having to cut the commentary here, but there's nothing much more I can tell you. If anything comes up to my mind, I'm just going to start talking again, in case there's anything else I have missed. But let's just put this in perspective. You shouldn't really take this video as a guide or as a suggestion, because it's not meant to be that way. And as you can see, I just completely raped that Kha'Zix, because Kha'Zix is squishy and I am Garen. So yeah, that was proof that AD Garen does indeed delete people, but I assure you would have been able to do something similar even without all that attack damage. So yeah. Where was I? Oh yeah, I was raising you all and going away. So yeah, don't take this video too seriously, because this is just a video to show some more versatility for Garen, but it's not the way you should build him anyway. Like, do keep in mind, Garen is not meant to be played this way, and you need to keep that in mind, or because if you take this too seriously, you might end up building Garen always AD, and I assure you it can't work. It can't work every time. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. I'm sorry about having to cut this out, but well, it's just 4 minutes more, so I can just go ahead and comment it over. I'm just changing my mind here because I do have the time. Like, it's just 4 minutes, I can talk about something else. For instance, I want to talk about what's going to happen on this channel in the next few days. Now, first up, let's say why I am not being as frequent as before. Well, now reason number one, school. School started again, and this year is my 5th year on high school, which means that I have to deal with this small little exam at the end. That will be my first exam in my life, and it's kind of, I know as a matter of fact, it's a hard exam to deal with, especially because it's been renewed, if I'm not mistaken. So in general, it's it just may end up being a problem, and it makes me have a lot less time. So it's important that I focus on school a lot, and I'm not going to leave the channel, but I am going to post a little less often than I would normally do. So yeah, so that's the reason why I've not been frequent, but I still do have plans for this channel. Now, I want to go on with League of Legends because Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, I like the game. I'm not playing it anymore because I don't have time. Like, I can't do both things. And you know, I'm not that good of an Advanced Warfare player, but the real problem is that my connection sucks. Like in League of Legends, the lag spikes can cause me to die a couple of times or to just have to back off and lose a kill. But in Advanced Warfare, they just cause me to completely miss shots and that kind of stuff, and they can turn things a lot often, and you know, it's just hard for me to deal with. So it's a huge problem. Until it gets fixed, I will not be able to play that game as good as I want. So, you know, instead of just wasting my time on it, I'll just go ahead and focus more on League of Legends because it's easier to record, it's easier to work with, and since I've also gotten that nice little guide on Mobile Fire, I think it's worth my time to keep spending time on League of Legends because you know, I'm just liking League of Legends a lot, and I want to go on with it as well. So yeah, the video is almost over now, so I think it's time for me to greet you in a definite manner. So you saw me delete a couple of people and get a couple of kills, but still I die very often because I'm just not as tanky as I should be. So, you know, this is a nice build. It was worth shedding, and it's worth considering in some specific cases. Maybe on the guide I'll write in which cases it's worth considering, but I generally wouldn't recommend it as your main Garen build. So yeah, guys, I hope you guys liked this video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching this small little new thing, and I hope you guys will keep following me because more League of Legends is coming. I do not play Garen only, and I've gotten a couple of nice things that I want to show you very soon. You know, that include different champions. Now, I don't know if you watched my Jarvan 4th mid gameplay, but that was also a nice video. So in case you haven't watched it, be sure to check it out. If you haven't already taken a look at my guide, make sure you do it. It's on Mobile Fire. I'll link it in the description of this video and in all of my videos descriptions, of my League of Legends videos descriptions. And that's pretty much it. Please come along with me for more Garen adventures and lots of other things on this channel. See ya.